Uh, yeah, I think let's begin. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Vishal Thakkar. I'm director for customer success at Sectona. Uh, Here I am today to present a webinar on reimagining privilege management, delivery, and adoption for the modern workforce. Of course, we'll speak more about what is modern workforce, what is the IT landscape today, and how things goes. Right. So, first of all, yes, let me also thank our partner in Bacotech in that region to help us, to support and help us, get this webinar uh, for the audience in that region. We really are thankful to it. I think there's been good engagement with the Bacotech. I think yes, I think this is mainly specifically to one of our earlier webinar that was given by Mr. Pranav Nair, who had mainly presented the solution, what we are into as Sectona, and what is the Bacotech Sectona engagement, what we are prioritizing, what is the privilege access management journey for us looks like, all of those. So today I'll be mainly speaking about the delivery aspect, the complexity in the IT landscape today, and how PAM can be leveraged. What is the way that you can look at PAM, how you should look at PAM, how you should choose the technologies, what should be your focus areas, focus points, right? Okay. Let me move ahead. Yeah. So this is the agenda session objective. Yes, this is what we'll be speaking more about, and then throughout the session. Any questions? I would ask the audience to keep posting the questions in the Q&A session. I'll be taking at the end of the presentation. My presentation may go up to around 30 odd minutes, and then after that I'll be happy to take any questions. In between, you can keep posting questions if you have in any of the slide. I'll be more than happy to address it at the end of the session. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I think the current landscape, right? If you see this picture, it's just a very complex picture that you see, right? What more complex can be, a banking, I'm taking an example of a banking, customer, banking industry, right? I think you'll see this kind of segregation, the IT landscape for it, different divisions, different departments, the core banking systems, then there are different departments around internet banking, mobile banking, and then application owners. There'll be DevOps team, having their own set of. There'll be core IT, there'll be some agile IT, which is having hosted their DevOps, and it is running the interfacing applications and systems on the internet for the consumers to log in, all of those, right? This picture itself shows a lot of complexity in terms of how the IT landscape has gone towards. So I think today, if you see, the adoption is much high with anything and everything, in the IT, right? So it is like saying that the people keep talking about AI and its application. People keep talking about blockchain and its application, right? The cloud adoption has increased invariably for every industry, for every IT enterprise that you take, any multinational company that you take. I think the cloud adoption, the DevOps adoption has gone to a peak, right? Everyone is trying to adopt it because of the scalability. Yes, that is more important. That is the that is what calls for it. Everyone requires a scalability, high scalability to meet the workloads and to achieve a space. So I think that's a pace which every IT, every organization, every multinational company wants to move, is something becomes a driver for adopting these newer technologies and then making it more complex, making the IT landscape more complex. Right. Okay. Now the problem is, yes, when it becomes more complex, yes, the important not to miss, yes, always important drivers in the parameters which comes into play is the regulatory landscape, the regulatory bodies, right? In EU, there are regulatory bodies such as DORA, NIS2. Germany will have MARISC, BAIT. Switzerland will have FINMA. So all of this regulatory, these are these are the more important ones we just put across. Of course, there will be many more. There'll be region specific, there'll be country specific. We have also seen complexity increasing when you have regulatory targeting different regions within the same country. So I think it has played a major role in pushing the IT organization, pushing the landscape to become more and more complex. Now we'll see why I'm putting the statement out is how it has made more complex, the IT landscape more complex, right? Because the regulatory body have put across the frameworks, cybersecurity frameworks, which every organization has to adopt, right? It's a mandate. There are norms, there are standards which organization has to meet to keep their licensing up and running, to meet certain standards, so that they are, they attract more consumers, more buyers to their businesses. They are able to reach their vision with the right security in place. That's where regulatory has become a good push for every organization. Right? So I think that is really called for the whole complexity in the landscape. Okay. Now, how it impacts? Yes, of course, there's a lot of impact to the IT and its users, right? The very first point is, yes, I'll take up very simple points and say, the pain areas or the challenges at the ground level every organization goes through, right? I'm sure there'll be many more. I'm trying to highlight which we come across on a day-to-day basis when we speak with large enterprises, when we discuss their pain areas, their challenges, where they are missing on which compliances, how the regulatory has pushed and come up with a newer amendments, and which now they have to look into further fine-grained things in this complex landscape. So I think very first is, yes, ad hoc business reporting. So of course, with the push from regulatory, every business, every, like say a banking environment, like say a multinational company, for example, will have a lot of departments running within the organization, right? Now every department will perceive or take the regulatory and compliance in a different manner, right? And of course, there will be differences with the department, adoption to the IT. Seeing the IT, the regulatory will accordingly get applied. The compliance will accordingly get pushed. The security need for security will accordingly change, right? So I think that is caused to more of an ad hoc business reporting, right? If high-level management, in a multinational organization, in a banking and infrastructure, right, wherein you have different functional team, different departments, running in silos, right? The whole reporting and the common view is lost. There's a lot of ad hoc business reporting, and be reminded, all of this data extraction required to be done around the reporting has a lot of sensitive informations, right? Now, that really, that really increases the risk of the information sharing. While information is shared across the team, across the organization, maybe it was limited within the perimeter of the organization, or may not be, right? That's another concern. It may be going to some third-party vendors, some registered vendors to the organization, right? Now, there's information of which is part of reporting itself poses a lot of risk, right? Because every department is pulling out their set of reports and are publishing to the higher up management, or taking support and help from the other consulting companies which are external to the organization, which has all this information going in and out, right? So there's no control on it. There's no visibility on it, right? This is where the impact starts. Yeah. The overall implementation of diverse solution and tools, right? So when we take example of a big organization, right? Now, because in the beginning, as I said, the regulatory compliance are pursued in a different manner, or apply in a different manner to different departments, seeing their IT landscape, right? Now that calls for the different department to take a different route or a solution which really meets their specific requirement, right? Now, what it means is every department today, in a larger setup, ends up having multiple solutions, right? And you may be surprised, to see different department in the same organization may end up having a solution which is overlapping, which has a lot of overlapping use cases, a lot of overlapping requirement being met by the features and functions of the solution, right? So there's a lot of communication gap. The adoption is the adoption of different solution is now taking increasing the whole complexity, taking a route of creating more and more dependencies on the solution, while and more dependencies, as in the organization are finding difficult to move out and come to a centralized centralized solution, centralized view of things. With multiple solution, multiple tools implemented, it is the things are running inside. The things runs in silos, while they may be they may not 100% meet the regulatory requirement, or may be able to meet the 100% regulatory requirement, but it is all department wise. It is all compartmentalized in a manner saying that there is no common view. There is a lot of challenges when this is the way of adoption for a IT, for a security solution, for a compliance from the compliance requirement standpoint. Now, third is again more important thing to highlight with adoption to different solution, different tools, different enterprise products. There's always rise in different privilege account. There's a service account which comes into play, which is much needed by such solutions, such applications which are hosted either on premise or on SaaS. There are certain service accounts which are required, right, to run the solution, the whole solution, right? Now those service accounts are how they are stored, no one knows, right? So it is most often whenever there's an audit, you will find a report saying the service account is not stored in a standardized manner or in a secure manner, right? The storage of the service account, which poses so much of a risk, like if it is in the wrong hand or if it is the credential is leaked or shared, can the things can go for a toss, not only for a particular function team or a department, but for the whole organization, right? Because the attacker can actually take advantage of such accounts or a vulnerability, or can exploit a certain weak point of a particular solution which is running in one of the department which had some security issues, or had some kind of a way for the attacker to inject something, making it more vulnerable, and then that spreads across the network, affecting the other department and other security solutions which are running inside. So that is another third point. Fourth, yes, the unwanted access for user organization wide. Yes, a lot of time with this, this really what is the cause of this is there's a lot of unwanted access which which is given out to different user personas, right starting from normal users having access to a normal applications, to privileged users having access to privileged applications, privileged data center servers and devices in a the core IT admins who has access to your data centers. So different user personas having a lot of access, which may be having having a standing privileges on such accesses. When you say standing privileges, yes, it is predefined. There are standing privileges given across to different user personas. There is lesser review mechanism because things are running in different silos, and this really leads to a lot of complexity in terms of maybe the privileges are overlapping, maybe the privileges are unwanted. There's no proper review or governance around it. Recertification done on the whole access, the complete access review being in place. The reports are again are coming out which are silos, and everyone is trying to fix and meet their own respective need to have an access on a particular application, system, servers, everything, or the network device. Right? Yes, lack of just-in-time access. Now, if really this really need the need of the hour is, yes, the just-in-time access to be enabled, and sort of having a standing privileges wherever possible, feasible. You always try to give just-in-time access, at least for the the user personas which are external to the organization. Maybe these registered contractors, temporary contractors, support peoples, or vendor, third-party vendors who are temporarily taking accesses. Just-in-time is something which you may want to leverage, but because of different complexity in the landscape, even such user personas are given standing privileges, are given accesses to the jump boxes in the DMZ zones, which are internet facing, which are driven which are more which are authenticated and authorized via traditional VPN access. There is no zero trust implemented for such users, so you really are not sure what kind of user is coming in out from the outside the network. Are they been given the right access, or are the access much fine-grained, enabled with the zero trust principles? So this is what is missed out, and there's a complete lack of the just-in-time access or just-in-time fine-grained access given to the end users. Right. So all of this, what I'm trying to present is, yes, because of the regulatory push, people start adopting and meeting each and every regulation every department is trying to meet their own requirement, and things goes into silos. Things are even the solutions are adopted in a department wise, are running in silos. There is no internal communication. The security is again much ad hoc security, which is achieved. There is no common centralized view of the security posture of the complete landscape. Yeah. The last is, yes, unwanted local admin access on the client machine. There's another important risk threat vector, right, wherein your endpoint, right, the user's endpoint are given ad hoc administrative access, right, or even if it is an ad hoc, at times those are not been removed, and there'll be a lot of users in the organization. It is the IT users, the vendor users, third-party users who are trying to take a privileged access are given a admin privilege on the client machine itself. Now, this really poses risk because you may not have a complete control and visibility what kind of end user machine the external user is using, or is it patched up to the mark? Is it security? All the security fixes are enabled. Is it running a correct or latest version of antiviruses, latest version of protection enabled on the endpoint, right? If these are the systems having an admin access, definitely some some vulnerability can pass on to the network, leveraging on the whole admin access of that client machine, can get into the network, can get into the whole organization domain. Now, this is not being monitored. This is not being again re-reviewed. The admin accesses are not revoked for the client machines, which have been taken every now and then, right? Yeah. So let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So I think at the end, the message is, yes, there's a complete loss of visibility, right? When I say visibility, yes, because again, I'm reiterating every now and then in the larger enterprise setup with the modern infrastructure, with complex IT landscape, the adoption and the regulatory compliance being a driver for every department is different, and the adoption for solution and tools are different. This really causes a lot of ad hoc security, and there's a complete visibility missed, or there's a lot of loss in the visibility, centralized view of things in IT posture. So that is a bigger risk that any bigger enterprise lives today. Okay. Now, complying to regulation, sorry, and security framework is fragmented. I think this is something again, much important to think about how it is, how the whole security framework is fragmented, right? Because of course the whole diverse regulatory requirement, is the whole cause for it, right? Because the organization, different organization may have a different regulatory compliances. Now, the complexity of the IT environment, which we earlier spoke, right, which increases, the complexity again increases every now and then. The threat is ever evolving. The whole the threat landscape is also ever evolving. Are adopting to more more complex solutions, more AI driven, and yet that really calls for calls that the whole idea of having a complex IT requires a complete centralized view and be able to manage the regularity in a common picture, in a one single picture, in a one single view. Now, second is, yes, organizations are in silos. That is again taking silos as in the complete working structure of the privileged users, the privilege the different actors which are there, the different personas which are working in that organization are working in silos. Okay. The implementation of the tools and technology is a challenge because of different department needs and requirement. The implementation of one single solution is never taken up within the organization. It will always be subjected to the regulatory compliance need and to the subjective to the whole operational ease for the end users in that particular department. The implementation will be taken up accordingly. Now, that really goes in much complex, that increases the whole complexity of different implementation of different solutions and tools for their pain areas. Resources as a constraint, yes, there's always a resources constraint because sorry, yeah, please excuse me. Resources is always a constraint because there's always a limited budget, right? And with limited budget, every department or the whole IT, when it is budgeted, when it is even the whole security, when it is budgeted, every organization will try to look at a solution which is much cost effective, right? They may compromise on certain areas, certain aspects, right? Try to only focus on the specific areas which are being met by the solution, and the solution may not be even be able to give a right set of reporting, right set of visibility, or a fine grain access reviews when it comes to the security requirement. Because of the limited resource constraint, the department or the whole organization may end up taking different solutions for their different requirement, and have 10 different things in their whole bucket to meet a common goal, or to meet a common security objective, meet a common regulatory objective. Audit and monitoring, yes. The audit monitoring would be internal. Yes, there'll be governance team, internal auditors, the external auditors. Even those are the those are the users, or who are much having a need to connect the environment, connect the systems, do their set of governance in terms of reporting. They may also require certain kind of accesses which are elevated access, which are critical access again to critical systems, and which may go unmonitored, which may not be recorded. Now these users who are taking access from the governance standpoint again has access to certain reports which have sensitive data, which have been pulled out, which have been monitored in terms of the meeting the whole security requirement for the audit. Cultural factors, yes, there'll be different cultural factors impacting the whole whole fragmentation in the regulation security framework, because the users adopting different technology will be accordingly be trained with their security awareness will be different for every user personas. Now department A having certain set of solutions will go for a security awareness for their specific department users. Department B in an organization may have different solutions. Accordingly, those vendor awareness programs will be running in the department B. They may have a different, may have a varied, context of the whole security objectives. So this itself differs. The users are the cultural differences in different department, or the users and adoption to technologies create the more differences, which will create a lot of complexity as well, and adoption to the regulatory security again goes much fragmented. I think yes. Next is how do you strike a balance between diverse user personas? Let's focus on some three user personas which are very core to any enterprise setup. Right, one is the core IT admins, right, which are managing and monitoring the complete data center of any large organization. Right, now these IT admins will be having core accesses to core systems, critical systems, network security devices, network devices, and core business applications as well. Right. Now these users may have maybe divided further into normal users and much high privilege users. There'll be normal application users, normal privileged application users as well. The core IT would be responsible for maintaining the whole data center up and running. Will be much occupied in troubleshooting with the incident being reported every now and then with the IT landscape, maybe on premise, virtual, or on cloud. They may be taking timely help and support from temporary from the support users who are external to the organization at times. So this is the persona which has their own set of requirements and challenges that are there. Right now, the developers again are divided further into DevOps engineers. Right, there will be different development teams which are in-house to the organization, which may be outsourced vendors as well. There'll be subcontractors working within the enterprise setup in an organization who are having different development environments. Now this development environment, of course, will have a lot of sensitive information which are stored in terms of secrets, keys lying within the systems, which are commonly used by the developers for their operational ease and efficiency that they require. Now there will be internal and external support engineers supporting these teams. Again, these are internal team or contractor teams or temporary support engineers connecting every now and then from external network. Right now, Remote users, another persona, third persona, very important critical persona. The third-party vendors, contractors, external auditors, right? Work from home users. Even the organization adopting to work from home policies still may have users seldomly working or frequently working from home, taking access to the IT network of the organization every now and then via traditional VPN. Again, may or may not be using their personal laptop or desktops. They may not have a corporate provided machines. They may be connecting from their personal machines, from their personal devices, client machines to the organization network with just a traditional VPN connect. Right now, the whole client posture, the client posture of the personal machine is questioned here. The security is questioned here. What kind of access the user is taking and what kind of vulnerability may pass on to the network is again a big question here. Yeah. So let us see the challenges these users face. Right. So the core IT will always have a challenge of having a right access. Right access and a control, right, which they may always require for their ease of operation, for ease of troubleshooting when they do on a time-to-time basis. They would be always want to be prompt for any incident response, prompt with their responses to any incident reported, right? So how a technology or a solution can actually make give an ease of access to those users, can adopt to their environment, can actually leverage their set of environment and clients which they commonly use to do all of these tasks on a day-to-day basis. Meeting compliances, yes, they'll be least bothered or may not want to get bothered every now and then from the compliance standpoint, from the regulatory standpoint, right? They may want to have a technology or a solution which actually in the behind the scene, in the background, does take care of the compliances and provides them a required ease from the operational efficiency, right? So that's something a simple requirement which is always required by core IT. But again, to enable it, security or the regulatory may compliance need may go for a toss. So finding a right solution for meeting the core IT requirement and ensuring the right security is important. Developers may require a simplified deployment environment, right? Work on the troubleshooting with minimal security configuration in their set of DevOps environment that they have. They may not want to be bothered again every now and then how and when, where they store their secrets or privileges. They may want a solution which actually takes care of it, right? They may want the secrets, the keys, the config, which are sensitive config files, which are stored in a secure vault, and be able to on-demand access every now and then, or be able to configure in some automation solution which can then leverage this vaults on demand basis, right? And at the background, the security is taken care, the compliance is taken care, and there is minimal security configuration every now and then, which have been pushed upon to the developer personas, right? Remote users, yes, they may want a secure access without the need of traditional VPN, right? Leveraging the zero trust principles, some solution which is in line with the zero trust principles, isolating the complete access of the remote user, making it, making the access much secure within the network of the organization, giving a more virtualized and access to the end user with session isolation in place, leveraging the leveraging the concept of least privilege, right? With zero trust, of course, authenticating every access when the user takes to the critical environment, every access that the remote user takes, authenticating it every now and then. Contextual authentication, adaptive authentication to be enabled. Right? These are the things which a remote user would require to play in the background to be taken care by a solution, and they may just get a required access which and do their right task, right? And then leverage the whole solution to get them a privileged access without the need for having a lot of hassles getting into too many hops of VPNs, firewall rules, jump boxes, and then taking the access, doing the activity with network experiences, making it much slower with hop to hop jump. Right? Okay. I think this is where Sectona comes in. I think as a solution, what we are trying to present is, yes, it's a complete unified privilege remote access solution, right? including your endpoint privileges management within the same platform, within the same unified platform, right? You really you really have more value realized because of a centralized solution, with each department having their own requirement, right, being met here. Maybe as the DevOps persona having the access to the cloud environment, DevOps environment, core IT having access to the on-premise virtual environments every now and then, being supported by us single stack solution. Different workloads, or the application workloads as well. The application users having access to different core applications. Again, their access are privileged. The remote users working on those applications, working and supporting the core IT or the DevOps operations team. The remote users taking access via zero trust principle with the remote user management in place and enabling a secure isolated access to such users without any dependency on their client machine, without any dependency on their endpoints. The scalability is addressed, with much security in place, with much ease and operational efficiency being in place with the unified solution. You achieve higher reliability because you have a common solution. The things we spoke earlier in the slide with the regulatory compliance push, making it more complex for every bigger organization, larger IT enterprise, going in, adopting more siloed solutions and systems and tools, which makes more even complex when it comes to security standpoint. The data being moved across this team, the sensitive information moving within the perimeter, outside of perimeter. All of those, you achieve reliability because there's a common solution, common platform for every access, for every persona, for every department, for every requirement and the need that the department has to meet their regulatory requirement. Three things, again, just trying to summarize everything in a very simple context, right? Three things enterprise can prioritize, right? One is, of course, consolidate technologies that require for managing privileges. Yes, enterprise should always focus on how and when they can consolidate the technologies which have been adopted. Can an organization bring in more holistic technology, giving a holistic picture, having multi-tenant support for different departments and their requirements. Can it be enabled for your different user personas, for such as internal team, external vendor users, the remote users, work from home users. All of those users are securely given access via this platform for their requirement, for their daily needs and requirements, and meeting the security. Yes, so trying to consolidate is something, yes, should be the focus for a large enterprise, having a modern infrastructure adoption. Identify reporting requirement. Yes, reporting requirement as in the users need to be identified early on. Whenever there's a technology refresh, whenever there is a consolidation exercise being done every now and then, right? The user's need has to be focused, much more, because users' need will actually derive what is the kind of business objectives the user is trying to meet for their respective team or the department or the whole organization as a whole. The business objective, the business visions, but the vision that the organization has. So user need has to be prioritized, to be focused right early on, which will then help you understand the right use cases, set of use cases, the right pain areas that the user has, and how those can be met with the unified solution. Improve productive and efficiency. Yes, the single stack will definitely bring in more, improve the whole productive, productive working of the users, working of the departments. Improve the security, because then you have a common security, common view of everything, common governance as well, a single governance with the unified platform, so that the auditors can look at a common platform, common from the governance standpoint, have a common view, common reporting being shared across different within the organization, or maybe an external auditor as well, right? With minimal information and maybe an access given to this platform to external auditors in a secure manner, so that the information are not being shared over emails or Excels and spreadsheets and PPTs outside the organization. It's all within the solution. Just a matter of enabling a right persona for that external auditor, and the access given to the right reporting for the better governance. Right? I think the last thing which I may just want to give a statement out here. Yes, the image itself says you may walk into a mart. You may have different products, different type of requirement, different same kind of a product within a different brand, but which is that one single product or one single brand you may want to choose is something more important. You always need to focus on your objectives, which are focus on the right objectives, which will help you derive or narrow it down to a single brand, a single technology, a single unified solution, which is able to align with your whole vision, business vision, and making it more centralized, giving you the more boost when it comes to the challenges around the complex and the modern infrastructure, which is much ever growing, right, for the organization. So this is something which is a last statement which I may want to put across to the audience. Yes. So I think I just would like to end here. I would like to also ask the audience if you have any questions for me, any things that you would like to put across, maybe call out or maybe put in a question format as well. I'll be more than happy to answer that as well. Okay, I think I have one question around does the solution has EPM endpoint privilege management in place? We could see in one of the slide you mentioned the client machines and privileges being managed, right? Yes. So yes, we do have, yes, the EPM is a different license product, right? And PAM is a separate license product, but both are part of a single unified platform. Sectona provides privilege access management solution and also an endpoint privilege management when it comes to standing privileges being given or the admin privileges being given on the client machine. How can you have a better control? How can you have a fine-grained control on it, have an access given to right set of application on demand basis without giving a complete admin access to the endpoint, right? Can the access go through a workflow and only then be approved on a certain levels, and then the application elevation on the endpoint or restriction explicitly mentioned post for certain critical applications or not a very secure application on the end. So I think yes, EPM is something part of the whole stack we provide. Yes. Okay. Another question, yes, coming in, is remote access a separate module or a solution? Is it a ZTNA that you support? We may not be a ZTNA solution. To answer that, we may not be a ZTNA solution, right? We do have a remote access user management module which is built in PAM. We feel it is something not a different it may not be a different product or a solution. It has to be a PAM because it comes in the PAM scope because of the user persona that the IT has, or any IT landscape will have multiple persona, as we discussed earlier. Remote user is one of the persona which having a privileged access should be managed by PAM itself, right? So we have a module which is built in, remote user management module, which can be leveraged, wherein you can host PAM access over the internet with more adaptive authentication, contextual authentication in place, secure login in place, secure session being enabled to the end user without having a traditional VPN client or VPN kind of access required. It is all session isolated access given to the end user via PAM console, right? So that is what we leverage and support, right? Everything is on an SSL communication. So there's a built-in module supporting the remote user access. Yes. Any further questions, team, please? Okay. There's another question. How is the licensing done for the solution? Okay, so licensing is very simple, right? As I said, there are two main products as part of this unified platform. One is privilege access management solution. One is endpoint privilege management. Privilege access management is user-based license. That is the privileged users that you want to factor who will have access to this platform for their requirements need, their for monitoring standpoint, and the endpoints which you want to enable with endpoint security, endpoint privilege management with Sectona APM. So number of desktops. So the PAM is always licensed with the number of users and access being unlimited, and the endpoints being factored as the number of endpoints that you want to manage under the EPM solution, right? So the number of endpoints. So this is how the licensing goes. Everything that you saw in the slide as a solution, as a unified solution, all the features and functions from password management, privilege access management, the just-in-time access, remote user management, everything is part of a single stack. Yeah. Any further questions? I think please do ask, guys. I may have another minute or so to answer it. Let me just. I think very well. I think no question coming in now. So I think thank you guys for your valuable time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Barkatek, again for attending this excellent webinar. I think any questions further to this, you can always reach out to us or reach out to Barkatek team. You can always put across, email us your queries. We'll be more than happy to reach out. We'll be more than happy to extend more interactive sessions if required by you and your organization for your specific requirement. Yes, thank you so much.